advised Nigerians not to believe bloggers. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Mayor Akinpelu. Journalist Hangout starts right now. And now the conversation starts. The uncertainty over pump price of petrol trailing the commencement of supply by the Dangote Refinery remains a puzzle waiting to be solved. In the face of this, oil marketers are of the opinion that it is abnormal for the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, to sell petrol produced locally from Dangote Refinery to Nigerians at a pump price higher than imported fuel. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, stressed that the celebration over the development is needless if imported products are cheaper. Meanwhile, the NNPCL has confirmed that it is paying Dangote Refinery in dollars for September petrol offtake, as Naira transactions will only commence on the 1st of October. All right, BK, let's start this conversation this way. Looking at the reports that the PMS vessels will arrive, according to the oil marketers, saying that their PMS vessels will arrive. Some said maybe today or tomorrow, but said soon. But looking at it, the pump price as released by the NNPCL, is it enough reason to justify importation as stated by the oil marketers?
Well, if what we want to see is a very competitive environment. If, in the grand scheme of things, the price of petrol sold by the Dangote Refinery is not significantly lower than was imported, then people would wonder what's going on. Many Nigerians thought with the coming on stream of the refinery that we would not only be guaranteed product availability, we will also be guaranteed cheaper fuel.
Yes.
But I've always warned that the fact that the Dangote Refinery is coming on stream is no guarantee that fuel will become cheaper significantly. The difference will just be marginal. That is what petrol stakeholders have been telling us, that the difference will be marginal. It's not, they've been saying this, but I guess many Nigerians were so nostalgic about those years when we had access to cheap fuel. Some were even thinking that it could come for as low as 300 naira per liter. Some were quoting 250, some were quoting 400. There are many issues involved. One of the biggest problems we've had is the fact that our currency has declined rapidly. You can imagine if our currency stood at maybe 900 naira or 1,000 naira to a liter, they won't be quoting this kind of price for us. The value of our currency is a big factor in determining
the price,
the pump price of petroleum products. It's a big, big factor, because look at it. This is a commodity priced in the globally accepted currency, which is the dollar. And even as Nigerians, we cannot expect an NPC to sell below the global oil prices. Somebody on Facebook was suggesting today that they could sell
below the
they could sell crude oil to Dangote at $50 for example. And I'm like, what kind of suggestion is this? If we sell, because already the cost of producing crude oil in our country is one of the highest in the world. It's costing us in the region of $40 to produce a barrel. Some countries will do it in just $20. If we sell to him at $50, I doubt if Nigeria can make up to $10 on a barrel. People should also remember that this is not simply about Nigeria. It is a joint venture environment. IOCs are producing. It is not everything that we produce that goes to NNPC. Maybe if we do like 1.6 million, NNPC will get like maybe 800. I'm just using that as an illustration.
Okay, because of the sharing formula between
yes, so they don't even get everything. And that is why pricing, you will find it difficult to go below the pricing template. Okay. So there are so many issues. I knew that because of the value of our currency, we will have issues. And I've been pushing that we can't leave this currency in the state that it is. I, for one, never imagined that my country's currency will go as low as 1,600. And if our own oil corporation is quoting 1,637 to a dollar in their transaction with the Dangote Refinery, it's a matter of big concern. That's why now they are saying that right now the gantry price per ton at the refinery was quoted to be $736, which is the equivalent of 0.55 per liter.
Okay.
0.55 cents per liter. So that is what, all of it still comes to the value of our currency. I do not think that, because this argument that, is cheaper than the imported brand. I do not believe that it's cheaper than the imported brand, because the same marketers have told us that the landing cost is in the region of 1,117. Sometimes they'll say 1,200. In Nigeria, we do not use oil tax. Some countries, they use it. Nigeria, we do not have. So if they had added oil tax, it will even have been higher.
BK, you keep talking about our currency. Then what should be done? We have the CBN there.
Every country, every serious country, does not leave its currency to the elements.
To demand and supply,
yes.
Market forces.
That is the problem.
China, I keep talking about China.
Yes.
So people will say, why are you comparing? We are not at the same level with China. That's a silly argument.
Are you saying we should stop?
We are saying that, look, China, I'm not saying we are like China. We aspire to be among the best. So if I use examples from bigger countries or better countries, there can be nothing wrong with that.
Copying is allowed here.
I'm saying that China has continued to tamper with its currency because it wants to attract, it wants to stimulate exports. So it deliberately devalues its currency. The Americans have been complaining that this is unfair, that China continues to devalue its currency so that foreigners will be able to buy, foreign countries will find their products attractive because they will be cheaper to
buy
rival brands. You understand? The value of the Chinese currency is not real because they continue to tamper with it. They deliberately lowered it to enable them do well as an exporting, as a country that thrives on export. Is that not? manipulating the market.
So what you're saying is they should suspend the flotation and manage the flotation.
No, even if you want to do a managed float, most countries do the managed float.
Okay.
We must do it properly. I do not agree, for example, that our currency is this weak. I will never agree with anyone, even if you are going to take my life. I will never agree that our currency is this weak. So if we say you are selling, the CBN is selling dollars to Bureau de Change operators, you go as far as selling to them at above 1,500. That means you have made up your mind that is the value of the currency. The value. Yes. You want to sell, for example, you want to sell at 1,560. What's the meaning of that? What's the meaning of that? We can't leave our currency like that. How can we have a situation in which Benin Republic, their currency will be stronger than ours? Do we even think about it at all?
It is embarrassing.
What are we doing? It is at the root of the suffering that Nigerians are going through. Everything is affected. Everything.
Okay, BK, let me come to Mayor. Mayor, pump price has gone up again just weeks after we had, the new price from the NNPCL. We have a local refinery now in Dangote. Should we be regretting now that we have a local refinery?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's just that the problem with NNPCL is that their communication is very bad. They don't explain things to Nigerians properly. The international and the independent marketers are saying that Dangote is more expensive. They're just being clever by half. Because the petrol the NNPCL was selling to them was subsidized.
And they know it.
That is the truth. It was subsidized. So if you claim that Dangote's PMS is more expensive, okay, you go and bring your own and sell. It's as simple as that. What happened is that NNPCL has been doing what they could not afford. They call it under recovery, which is another name for subsidy.
Yes.
Because they didn't want people to rise up in arms. They wanted to sustain the price. And they kept spending money that they do not have. Now they've gotten to the point that they were owing $6 billion. And they don't even have the means to pay.
Which they first denied.
Yeah, part because they were saying they were not doing subsidy and all that. So what they have done now is that they told themselves that since Dangote is now going to give us this product, let us remove subsidy completely and sell at the price at the market price, that with normal price that they were supposed to sell it. Why it is that expensive at that N950 that they are selling now is because Dangote bought those crude paying foreign exchange. In dollars. So when you buy the crude in dollars, from everybody, when you buy in dollars, that is what determines, it is the crude that determines, because that is the major component of whatever you are doing. So Dangote cannot buy crude in dollars and now sell to you at a price below production price. So what NNPC has done is to say, this is the price that we will not put subsidy. They'll be able for once now to remove subsidy. But now in October, there's an arrangement between NNPCL and Dangote Refinery for them to pay in Naira, which means that the cost of the fuel, of the crude that they're going to use will be lower. And then there won't be any need for freight and all that where they're going to bring the crude from. Okay. So naturally, the price will go down. Not extensively, but marginally the price will still go down. Yes. But we will have solved a problem, the problem of subsidy. So government can now, or NNPC can now conveniently say that they are no longer paying subsidy. So the difference in the price now has to do with that price. And then to add to what BKO said, the problem of with all respect, I've discussed with people in several fora that I'm disappointed in the governor of Central Bank. As far as I'm concerned, our monetary policy is not being done properly. Yes. That is my belief. And I know that I can't understand how a governor of Central Bank will allow the currency which is his major duty to manage, to get to a stage where it will ruin everything. Because, like you said, if had it been it was the time that we were exchanging the naira for 600, 700,
it won't have this
price of petrol will be about 400 or
it won't
500.
be this high.
Yes.
Price of petrol, PMS, will have been 400 naira or max 500 naira.
All right. Mayor, BKO, should the president be reading the Riot Act to the CBN governor right now concerning our currency?
You should be reading the Riot Act, not just to him, but to a good number of the people working with him.
Oh, not just to the
Not
CBN
just,
governor.
no, yeah. The economy has not been properly managed.
Correct.
It's visible to the blind. And some actions that you expect them to take quickly, they will take ages. Look at the issue, like when subsidy was removed,
Okay.
the National Assembly approved the president's stimulus plan.
Okay.
They were to bring in CNG buses and all of, even CNG keke napep, they were to bring them in. We then saw that no action was taken for a long time. By the time they were ready, the value of our currency had gone down. So all of those projections, we are going to buy so number of all those have been thrown out of the window, because the exchange rate volatility has ensured that you can no longer match that plan with action. So if you want to take an action and you are just vacillating, you are wasting time about it, at the end of the day, you may not be able to take action. And Nigerians want decisions to be taken quickly on issues that affect their lives. You cannot tell me that this currency thing, look, we went, because of the way we work, sometimes 3 weeks we do not see our families.
Yeah, it's a
I
thankless
then decided that, okay, my wife was complaining, you've not taken us out. This long vacation, we were just at home. I said, okay, let's go. We then went, Ikeja Mall is a very good place, not just for shopping, but for sightseeing. A lot of people go there simply to snap pictures. But majority of the people, they like the ambience, they like the beautiful scenic beauty and all that. I wanted to buy shoes for her. Every place I entered, good shoes were in the region of 200,000 plus.
Sure.
What is my judge? I couldn't buy, because I looked at her face, looked at the price tag. I said, I'll be crazy to buy this. And you go into another place, it's the same thing.
BKO, can I...
Because of the slide in the value
of our currency.
Many countries, all of these prescriptions, many countries simply brush them aside because they don't want their people to suffer. Manage float. I go for managed float.
Not leaving it for demand
I
and
go
supply.
for managed float, not simply to leave it to the elements. I'm using this word now. Leaving it to the elements. Just whatever happens to it. And then don't forget, when he talked about the way the CBN governor has managed our currency, don't forget, this whole thing degenerated when we wanted to go and meet the black marketers.
Yes.
At their own rate. What is our business with them? We want convergence. Okay. But at what cost? We want convergence because we don't want people to be round tripping and all that.
That can be better managed than what they are doing.
Yes.
Because the world have not changed. For example, now, if you want to go to Canada, for example, just check the price. Before, when you look at, or you go to America, Tool Delta, it's still the same 1,300, 1,200 that they were carrying. But now, Naira is about 800,000.
At that time.
Now, it's about 3.5 million.
Oh dear.
To just buy a ticket to go abroad, to go to America. When you want to go to Kenya, it's 2 million.
People have their children. People have their children
schooling abroad.
Many of them are forced to bring them back home.
Because they can't manage.
Yes, because the 12,000, 15,000 pounds, dollars that you are going to pay now is a different ball game. How will you get it?
How do you cope? Except you are stealing, you are doing other things to augment your income. It's not everybody that is in position to do that. Some people would rather prefer that God takes their life than steal.
Okay, BK, we've talked about the currency.
Let the currency be better managed.
Let's also go back to what the marketers are saying. Vessels are coming in, but really, does it make sense if we are still importing petrol and NNPC, we are still importing, and we have a
the reason for
refinery that can satisfy
the reason for that,
the
no, the
need.
reason for that is that NNPC, Dangote Refinery for now cannot supply all our needs. The more they produce, they'll be able to now meet that. What they are doing now, they cannot. NNPC they're supposed to supply majority of what we need, and NNPC will import for the shortfall. But it will get progressively, it will get to a stage where there won't be any need to import. All these people that are saying things, because before this transaction with NNPC, there have been vessels. You just don't go and buy something. You make orders. It takes time. You get vessels that will come. So those are pre-orders that have been done.
Yes.
And they can afford to take that because, like I said, NNPC cannot.
NNPC does not even have facility to store.
Okay, they use.
So what they simply do is, no, they use private tank farms in the past.
Okay.
And they got their fingers
because they used to steal it.
Somebody stole about 11 million liters and claimed that it was because it was evaporating. You know, let's not go into that. So what they simply do is, these vessels,
okay,
they allow some of them to remain on the ICs. And they will simply tell Navy, we've not taken our petrol from these people. They can't go now.
Okay.
This is what is happening. So once it's your turn, you discharge. And then other people too are on queue. That's their own way of managing that situation. They don't have the facility to store. Dangote has facility to store petrol that we need for a whole month.
Okay.
Yes, he has some tanks
that
can take 1.2 million liters.
Okay.
Just 120 million liters, one tank.
Oh dear.
120 million liters. I saw them. I said 120 million liters, one tank. So he has sufficient storage capacity, but NNPC has not got that. So they have to find a way. Okay, these people, they are friends. When we need them, we take the. So, and for energy security, they are not going to stop importation now. Because we have Dangote, that's one refinery. What if something happens to the refinery? No country puts itself in such a situation.
So there needs to be a
Saudi Arabia, let me tell you, Saudi Arabia, that is the market leader. Saudi Arabia still imports. There are some countries that have sufficient crude oil, but still import Nigerian crude, and they use it to blend what they have.
For example,
that way they will make more money.
Yeah. Because our Lamborghini of crude, you know.
Yes, because our crude oil is the most expensive. If you simply want, I don't think even Dangote can rely 100% on our crude.
He has to mix it with other.
Yes, he has to shop because we are not even producing enough. I just pray our matter won't eventually become like that of Malaysia. Some countries that opted out of OPEC because at a point they were not producing enough. They are not producing enough.
Okay, BK, some analysts believe that Dangote selling PMS at dollar-wise 55 cents is bending over backwards. That if he's to sell according to international pricing for gasoline, like for example, in Ghana, they say PMS sells for $1.20. In Singapore, $2.50. And also in Canada, $1.50. They said that he's selling at that amount, 55 cents. He's like bending over backwards. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know.
I don't agree with that.
I don't know about that. There are many things we read that we just laugh. Did I not say somebody suggested that they should sell crude oil to him at $50? When in fact our cost of production is about 40. So what will be the gain of Nigeria if you sell at 50? You know, some of the things that we read, if we subject them to critical analysis, we'll see that there is no sense.
And then you cannot make a 20 billion investment and then sell under your production cost.
No,
It's not possible.
No, he will be in trouble. He
It's
has
not
to
possible.
pay. He has to pay his loans.
It's not
I'm not
possible.
saying that the market, if we can't buy,
So for them to
take
sell
it
at
Let me tell you
that,
the
for them to
best
sell at
bet
that
for
prices,
will probably be to even export. He will make a lot of money exporting. And
You'll
there are
make more
clients-
money exporting than
Yes,
selling.
course.
yes.
Of
So
course.
exporting
Alright.
refined crude. There are markets all over the place for him, all over the world. People are looking for these things.
Okay.
Even countries that do not have.
there are people who import
oil,
oil like we used to import
they have
oil.
refineries
Yes.
and they are making good money.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, we need to go on this quick break. We need to pay some bills. We'll be right back. And when we're back, the conversation continues. It's still Journalist Hangout.
I'm Miriam Lunge. I'm a passionate environment advocate and a published author.
I am the founder of Celebration, a businesswoman, and a fashion icon.
I am a wealth coach and a real estate developer.
I am Amako Arakwe. I'm a corporate commercial lawyer and an entrepreneur.
Barkamu da warhaka. I am Ramatu Shehu Oyibo, an entrepreneur and a business coach.
I am the voice of an average Muslim woman, an hijabite, and a lawyer.
I am a polymath and a serial entrepreneur.
I am Murayo Afolabi Brown, Managing Director, TVC Entertainment. I'm a media consultant, producer, and broadcaster.
The ladies of your view are made of women from different professions, tribes, cultures, and religion. Join us.
If you just joined us, it is still Journalist Hangout. I'm still hanging out with Mayor and BKO. So let's go straight to our next story. As a country, we are still counting the losses brought on Borno State by a devastating flood. As the severity of the situation becomes clearer, President Bola Tinubu has visited Maiduguri to get a vivid understanding of the situation. After meeting with the Shehu of Borno and sympathizing with victims at the IDP camps, President Tinubu proposed a disaster relief fund through collaboration with the private sector to help rebuild the affected areas and also support the victims. The president said a small percentage of the Federation Account Allocation Committee, FAC, will be deducted as a disaster relief fund, which
Yes, as a president, you cannot hear that this sort of thing happened and not go there, despite the fact that his deputy, Kashim Shettima,
Has visited?
whose house was also overtaken by flood, had been there. He felt the need to also go there because we continue to rate the extent of damage that this flood has done to this people. It's a global level calamity. This thing, what happened in Borno State, yes, in Maiduguri. So the president had to go as we speak. People can't find drinking water. In many places, some places are cut off because some bridges were also destroyed. So there are communities within the state capital that you can't get to because the bridge with which you can access them had been submerged in the flood. So how do people now move around? So people are trapped. They need support. So the president has gone there, and I'm happy that he created a disaster relief fund for these victims, and he has promised to get the private sector to support the rebuilding of the city and all that. Because look, a lot of those houses submerged. You do not even expect people to live in them.
Yeah, because the integrity.
Those houses will eventually give way, and they will kill people. So rebuilding has to take place in some places. Once the superstructure is already weakened by the deluge, you don't expect people to live in them, except you want to kill such people. But it's just a matter of time, those houses will give way. So rebuilding has to happen. Support for the people who are victims, who have lost their belongings, their life savings, who have lost their vehicles and all that, has to come. Maybe in subsequent editions, we'll be able to show how some Nigerians on their own came together and they are feeding hundreds of Maiduguri residents. You see the food packs that they placed on the ground. You see them cooking. This is what they are doing on their own. It's not as if they are rich, but they just felt that, look, this is a time that they need to support. Now, the matter is worsened by the fact that people who are not even victims.
Yeah, I was about to come to that.
According to what the governor said, they've now gone to mesh with people in the IDP camps created to bring succor to victims.
Why? Is it because of free food?
It's free food.
Yes, because of poverty.
There's a lot of poverty.
But what's the implication of this?
No, of course, they will then stretch the capacity of relief agencies to provide succor to the people who need it.
Who need it the most?
For people who do not need it, whose houses are in the areas, unaffected by flooding. You know, those who are living on the highland, coming to collect food, collect clothing and other things meant for the people who desperately need to be assisted. It's a terrible thing. So I'm happy that the governor said that he's going to do his best to ensure that they identify such people and focus on the people who need this help.
How do you then identify such people? Is there like a data that you need to, or you ask them questions? Because people will lie and say, oh, it affected me. You know, how do you identify such people?
Well, it's possible. It's possible. It's possible. They will know those who do not live in their areas.
Okay, we'll leave the governor to...
let him sort it out.
Let him sort himself out. But what measures, in your opinion, should be put in place? You know,
I think what is needed is what Mr. President has done. I want to commend him for that, for his leadership and for his empathy. I also want to commend the Vice President because he went there, identified with the people. We worked through the fraud with them to show people that, okay, we know what you are feeling and we are with you. And what is needed basically is funds to be able to provide things for those who are affected. And by creating the disaster relief fund, and the president has done something very nice to say that some part of FAC is this money that the 3 tiers of government share every month, that a part of it will now be allocated to that.
Well, Mayor, we can't just keep pumping money. Is there like a strategy to mitigate these things from happening?
No, you cannot. There's nothing you cannot, because you see, there's climate change all over the world. So flooding is not something that is peculiar to us. All over Europe, all over America, there's floods everywhere. Austria, disaster has been declared in some part of Austria because of the volume of the flood that they experience. So it's climate change.
How about maintenance of the dams to make sure that these kind of things don't happen?
No. It's not as if the dams are not. It's not as if the dams are not.
I'm talking about a strategy.
No. It's not as if the dams are not maintained. That's why I said even in cedar climes they have this flood. When there is excessive rain, for example, and a dam, you understand, overflow its banks, there's nothing you can do. That's a natural thing.
Should more dams?
You understand?
Hurricane Katrina.
No. Yes, that's what I'm saying, that national disaster will happen. It has to do with climate change. So what we need to do is to have a system in place to be able to respond to that disaster. Yes, that's what we can do. We cannot guarantee that those things will not happen.
Oh, no.
It's not in our.
Will it be difficult to be proactive?
That's what I'm saying. In proactive, what you can do in being proactive is for you to have agencies of government that can respond immediately. For now that the president, for example, is creating this disaster relief, it will be better for us to have a structure in place where the funds will be readily available, and it will not be emergency funds. But even at that, because you don't know what will happen, it's an emergency. You cannot adequately plan for it. You can only plan to respond to it. Because you will not know, for example, you respond to it, because you cannot, for example, determine the volume of rain that you will experience, for example.
But they sometimes make these forecasts. We need to take those forecasts seriously.
Yes.
Okay.
When NIMET will always say, look, flooding will happen in 21 states, 170-something local governments and all that. So we have to effectively respond, because in spite of early warnings that we got, our efforts have not shown that we prepare adequately. We know that these things will happen. Irregular rainfall pattern is a problem across the globe because of the way we badly treated our habitat, which is Earth. We were warned, but people won't listen. Now we have to live with it. We have to live with it, but every country must have a very effective climate action plan.
Okay.
So what are we doing? This must serve as a lesson to us.
A lesson.
Yes, that look, these things can happen, but we have to be ready. When it happens, our response time should be faster. I'm happy with the governor of Bauchi, who has said, okay, the emergency staff in Bauchi State should move to Borno to go and help them. It's done very well, to go and help them.
Okay.
Those are the kind of things. I was talking about that Lagos has structures in place to respond to these things.
True.
So Lagos can also offer
help
yes,
too.
not just giving money, but make your expertise available.
Especially when you have a Commission of Environment that is very, very good.
Exactly.
And Soyin Tolu, Soyin Tolu has always been there and is very well switched on.
Yeah, he's always hands-on. All right, let's move away from Borno State. Let's take a trip to where the 2024 Edo State governorship elections is about 4 days away. But the tension is palpable due to intense politicking, scheming, accusations, and counter-accusations by the gladiators. One of such is a statement made by the chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the state, Anthony Aziegbemi, alleging that the presidency is planning to manipulate the polls using the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, through the release of $2 million to the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, for vote buying and bribing of security agencies. Now, following this accusation, Ribadu has filed a lawsuit against Aziegbemi. The NSA is demanding 10 billion naira damages from the PDP state chairman. His legal representatives condemned the defamatory statement, which they said has harmed Ribadu's reputation. some would say, yes, in politics, these kind of things happen. But, BK, what do you make of this defamation, the damages against the Edo State PDP chair, alleging that the presidency, through the NSA, through the DSS, will manipulate Edo State election?
First and foremost, Ribadu has not filed a suit. What is done is to get his lawyer to write them, telling them to retract
that statement,
the defamatory statement, or expect to be dragged to court. So he's asking for a written apology and a full retraction of the publication in its entirety in at least 5 newspapers.
Okay.
10 reputable and well-read online news sites, 7 national and international TV stations, and 10 radio stations. So the Edo chairman, in the statement titled Edo 2024, Presidency's Move to Interfere, Manipulate, Guba Poll using DSS, NSA, uncovered. Ribadu is not the sort of person that you make this kind of accusation.
And he will just lie low.
Looking at you. No, he's not that kind of person. Remember when I think the deputy governor of Kano State made a similar claim that he was the one who provided the aircraft for them to bring
The former
Emir
Adebayo
to the town so that he can come and enter the palace. Ribadu said, look, you cannot make this kind of accusation when you don't have proof that I did it. They just came to the conclusion that since security men were on ground and all that, he must have been the one who engineered it. And he said, no, I'm not going to take this. They had to apologize. They apologized to him and we had peace. I hate it when you lie against me. You have no proof. You just simply lied against me, believing that I will not bother to respond. It makes sense to respond because people will believe what they have said. But if you sue the person who lied against you, who claimed that you were sharing $2 million for the purpose of vote buying and bribing security people, you have to, the courts would ask them to provide evidence. So politicians say a lot of nonsensical things that they cannot defend.
Is this, why do we have that in our own politics?
No, but we don't practice politics in a decent manner here. Politics, we've turned it to a zero-sum game. If you can destroy the opponent, physically destroy the opponent, if you can verbally assault the opponent, assault him verbally, so that people will not see them as worthy people that should be taken seriously. Because to them, it's part of the marketing, not just the party, but the person of the NSA. And the NSA is convinced that he has not done a thing like this. And he's saying, okay, you have to, I'm going to collect 10 billion from you.
If you do not retract.
If you do not retract. Ultimately, lawyers on both sides will come together. They will find a way to deal with this problem. I also heard that even Oshomole himself, they are already threatening him with a lawsuit over some of what he said. You know, Oshomole, once he's on the soapbox, he can say anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's difficult to manage him. So it's like he too is facing something similar. But our politicians should practice politics with decency.
Okay.
You know, we should not just eat up the polity unnecessarily just because we want to win an election.
Sure. All right, Mayor, what is the price of decorum and integrity in our politicals?
I will look at it that our political development is evolving, and we will get to, it's getting better, but now it's still
getting better?
Yes, slightly, yes. Things used to be, when you look at from 1999 to some time, things used to be worse than this. When there won't be election, people will just sit down and write figures.
Okay.
People used to do a lot of
Election
things.
process.
Yes, election process. So, but what I'm saying is that the chairman of PDP who made this statement is because he's scared. because I can't see the pathway of PDP winning the election. And that is why you see when you are scared or when you are not sure of victory, you try to look for excuses. When you're on top of your game, you won't be saying that, oh, they brought money, because that is what every political party does. Yes, PDP is going to spend money. Everybody is going to spend money.
Politics has changed.
So when
if you don't spend money,
you cannot because.
Revival ministries, while some Nigerians have jumped on the trend with comedy skits, others are of the opinion that what God cannot do does not exist. But the ministry has urged the Nigerians to disregard bloggers and listen to the complete testimonies shared by its members on the platform of the church for better understanding. The head of public relations and media, Chidi Lois, said the church will never fabricate testimonies. He insisted that trending videos making mockery of the testimonies were made to discredit what God is doing. There, the trend. Are you the chosen and all of it? It's been all over.
Are you chosen?
I am of the chosen generation. Okay, but
belong to
I'm a chosen generation. Well, on this though, what do you make of the viral, unconventional testimonies by members of this church?
It's not in this church alone that it happens. This is the reason some churches, before you climb the pulpit to talk about
what God has done,
yes, they will first debrief you.
True, some churches.
They will first debrief you. You are not simply just going to go there. Because they don't want an embarrassing situation. These days, people armed to their phones, they will record all kinds of things in church. Women swinging their waist anyhow in church. These days, you will see it on social media, twerking in church. And they may not even know that somebody's recording. Now, when people make esoterical statements, like some of what we have had, they are inviting controversy. And they are damaging the name of the church by some of the testimonies that they are making. Okay, one said, something entered my back, lifted me up. It carried me like an aeroplane to Express. When it reached there, it dropped me. I turned to look at what carried me, and it looks. I looked, it was a lion. The lion now raised one hand up and asked me to go. And the lion said, bye-bye. Lion saying bye-bye. Oh, that means it's not an animal anymore, it's a human being. And in another viral video, a lady said she fought robbers and took their AK-47 rifles.
I was shocked.
She said she miraculously gained control of their guns and ensured the arrest of the 3 robbers.
Oh dear.
Another one recounted how he survived a kidnapping, multiple machete attacks and gunshot wounds, all without sustaining an injury. He said, the other person shouted, Capo, what is he talking about? Before I knew what happened, they macheted my head, but it didn't penetrate. I only heard the sound. Then another person shot me in the head, but it didn't penetrate. One called the commander and said, let's take this one into the bush or outside. They started pushing me to where the God of Chosen finally proved his power. In the last example, a woman testified how armed robbers repeatedly shot her husband without being harmed after she instructed him to declare, I am chosen. She said they shot the husband again, and even though they kept shooting repeatedly, the bullets did not penetrate. So when people hear these kind of things, and these stories are too good to be true, it turns the whole thing to a joke. There are people today who are diminishing Christianity without knowing it. What they want to achieve, we do not know. But they are diminishing the faith.
But should the bloggers be blamed here?
The church was describing, they said the bloggers are devilish and skilled at taking things out of context. This is not a case of taking something out of context.
At all.
We have videos of people saying these things. Standing in front of the church and claiming that you were macheted, it didn't penetrate.
It has nothing to do with
you have
anything.
That means it's otumokpo that you are using. If they macheted you, I didn't enter. You cannot simply say Lord of chosen and there won't be penetration. Even Jesus Christ, when the devil tried to tempt him, oh, see this place, jump down.
You can't tell the Lord.
Jesus refused, Abi.
Okay, Mayor, hold on.
Okay.
Should the Christian Association of Nigeria and other Christian bodies, investigate the integrity of these testimonies? Because Khan
himself is also guilty of lack of leadership. If you remember that there used to be testimonies, there used to be churches that used to do testimony on TV. It was banned in Nigeria at one time. It was miracles. It was banned at the time. Because now, church has become business. Unlike when they were winning souls for God, now it is a business. And testimonies is a marketing tool. Why testimony is a marketing tool is that when you come and you say these outlandish things, it is to convince people who are listening to you to say that, look, there is one power that somebody just said happened in that church. Let me go there. You understand? It is crap. There's nothing like that. But people continue to do it because we live in a world where people want to, they've already made up their minds, they are looking for miracles, anywhere they could get it.
But they say what God cannot do does not exist.
No,
no. You see, people tend to drag God into
anyone
what
who
God
says
does not know.
There is nothing that God cannot do is an ignorant person.
It's an ignorant
Yes.
statement.
God cannot do all things.
But anyway.
God cannot, my teacher in the university taught me that God cannot create a stone he cannot lift. Abi?
Okay.
My teacher taught me that God cannot create a square cycle. A square cycle. You know, the idea of a square cycle is illogical.
True.
God will not do illogical things. So let's not fool you that God can do all things, or what God cannot do does not exist. No.
All right. Thank you so much, BK. Thank you so much, Mayor Akikwele.
Thank you
for having this conversation. BK, the veteran. Thank you so much for having this conversation this beautiful Tuesday evening. And that's it on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at 11 and join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Benga Oreshegun. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.